Hello, how are you? Welcome to a new video for the channel. This time, we will be talking about the company Fondeo Waymaster 3, and I was able to make my second withdrawal from this company, but I did it from a $30,000 account. The first was from a $100,000 account. So, if you are new here and you are interested in acquiring a discount with this company, I will be leaving you a link so that you can get a 30% discount on your first purchase. All you have to do is register with the link and place the coupon in our community, which is PropFear30. I will also be leaving it written in the description of this video. And well, what are we going to be seeing in this video? The first thing we are going to be seeing is how I managed to make this profit. At the end of the video, I will be explaining the strategy so that you can apply it, since in previous videos, they mentioned that the best thing I could do is explain it to you, because many find it difficult to reach this goal. For me, it is complicated, but in the end, it can be achieved if we take it there calmly, not trying to do it in a week, in a month, in 15 days. But when it has to flow, the first was on June 26th, and the next was on August 27th, practically 2 months later. I had already proposed a month to make another withdrawal, but that will not always happen. It is quite complicated that we can do it if we do not have a strategy with a good win rate. In my case, I did win most of the days, but what happens is that I do not have a very high risk-profit ratio, so that complicates the statistics and makes the task a little more difficult. Well, we are going to be explaining. This was the account, but they already eliminate all the statistics that one leaves in the account, so I will not be able to explain here the operations that I took from the history, but I can explain the operations that I took in TradingView. So, well, this company asks us for 6% in our first phase, a consistency of 20% of the profits. Although here it says 30%, we are not going to listen to that 30%, because if we withdraw, for example, from 21 onwards to 30, they would only be paying us 20% of our profits. On the other hand, if we do it below 20 or equal to 20, they would be paying us 50% of our first withdrawal, 75% of our second withdrawal, and 90% from our third withdrawal. The goal is basically 6%, as I mentioned. The total loss is 4%, and the daily loss is 2%. Those are the goals that we have to fulfill to be able to withdraw. But there is also another plan that I will also be explaining to you, which I personally like a lot. But right now, I will be explaining in more detail in this video. Well, here, you can, for example, customize a 100,000 account. See that with the discount that is right now. It is quite expensive, but with the 30% discount, that account would be staying at $264. So it is very good that you buy that account at $264 to take advantage of the discount. But the plan that I like now is to customize our maximum total loss. Just this one. See that a 100,000 account will be staying at $548 for 0.70. They would be staying at $383. But remember that this account is going to pay you more. Although the goal is to do more, it is almost the same. Because here for example, in the normal one, this one that I have, in this one, you need 5 trades. For you to pass it, if you want to pass it in a single 5 trades in a row, and for example, in this one, also 5 trades. What I like is that here we are going to have a maximum daily loss of 2%, and here we can earn 2% per day. So it has been like a one-to-one account, and that is what I like. It will be statistically easier, but you are going to decide which account. This was an entry that I took this week. You see that we had some highs here. Here someone could be a channel, but here what we would be waiting for is that it manipulates upwards. We have a change of structure. In this case, you see that here it makes us an accumulation. You are going to mark that accumulation. This was an Asian session, and when it breaks the structure here, you can decide if you are going up or down. I sometimes, for example, put 100, and if I see that it could manipulate a little higher, I leave it just at the top, or I give it a little more space. You are going to decide how much space you would give to your trade so that it will not affect you. That was an entry this week. You see that it was quite simple. We are going to explain another entry. Practically, this week I took almost only sales on that account. Here we had an accumulation. We had an area at this point, the area of the previous day. This was the momentum on the day, and this was the area that I had left on the day before. And here, you can start to mark your structure. You can change temporality. And see how the structure was being formed. This was a high, a low higher, and this was the highest high. And here the lower structure begins to form. It does not want to exceed the highest high and begins to make lower lows. Here, it breaks. At this point, it breaks. And here, I take my entry. It would be the valid break in this structure. And here, you accommodate the TP. This was the entry that I had just taken after that rise that I told you there. And see that it is quite simple. I hope it looks like this in all the trades. But hey, that's almost never going to happen. But you already know that this is how some trades are going to go to the stop loss. Others are going to go to the TP. I would like to remember one that I have had a stop loss on that account. I think not. On that account, I did not have a stop loss this week because I reached the goal. So those were the two trades that I took. The truth is, they look simple, but I wish the market was always like that. But most of the time, it will not respect that structure. Many times, it will go straight to the stop loss. It just breaks a structure, but you decide if you want to perfect this strategy. I recommend, for example, this indicator. You see that it confirms the entries quite well when it breaks the structure, because it is below the cloud, and when it is above the clouds, we can look for those purchases if our strategy tells us to buy. So anything you don't understand, you can ask me the questions there in private and join our community. So now I will be explaining a little more about the plans of this company so that you can understand them. For example, in the last package that I mentioned, for example, the maximum total loss of 10%. Here you would achieve a goal of 10%. For example, in this case it is 10,000, right? And if the case reaches the goal, you get 5,000 in the first payment, 7,500 in the second, and 90,000 from the third because it is 90%. 9,000, sorry. So basically, this is in terms of the plans of 10%. What I like is that if you lose one day, the next day you could recover it if you make a 2%. And this forces us to stop. It forces us to be disciplined, and even if we want to continue losing, it will not happen like that because the system will force us to stop, obviously. So I highly recommend this plan, but if not, let's leave it as it is, which is the plan where I just made a withdrawal. When you withdraw from a plan like this, I will also be bringing it to you so that you can finish convincing each other if in case you do not like the explanation that I tell you, but if you like it, then obviously take it. I also have a video of the consistency rule so that you can see it. I have a video where I explain the two plans so that you can get out of doubt and understand what I am trying to explain to you. And I think that with that, you will be able to merge with this company. Remember that it is direct funding. So this has been everything for today, and see you in the next video. Until next time.